Imagine stepping into a town where the sheriff drank harder than the outlaws, where the wrong look could get you killed, and where $1 silver might be the only thing standing between safety and your funeral. In the deadliest towns of the Old West, money didn't just buy food or drink. It bought time. Time to live, time to escape, time to see another sunrise, and the cost of spending it wrong may very well be your life. Join us as we take a look at what $1 could get you into or get you out of in the Wild West's deadliest towns. After weeks on the trail, cattle towns looked like safe havens. Cowboys drove herds across dusty plains, sleeping under the stars, brave in storms, rustlers, and stampedes. Reaching town meant the end of hardship. Dodge City, Abilene, and Wichita glowed like beacons. Saloons lit with lanterns, music spilling into the street, and the promise of warm meals and warmer company. A silver dollar in your pocket felt like a key to comfort. A hot plate of steak and beans, a bed in a boarding house, or a whiskey at the bar. But safety in cattle towns was an illusion. That same dollar also fueled drunken brawls that ended in bloodshed. Gambling dens turned pennies into fortunes and fortunes into funerals. A $1 hand of faro might trigger an accusation of cheating, and in a place like Dodge, accusations were answered with revolvers. Cowboys flush with wages became easy marks, knocked unconscious in alleys, stripped of boots, hats, and money, left to crawl back to the trail penniless. Lawmen like Bat Masterson and Wild Bill Hickok tried to keep order, but even they knew a silver dollar in Dodge City didn't always buy you safety. More often, it bought you trouble. Mining towns promised fortune. A man could arrive with nothing but a shovel and a dream and believe that one lucky strike would change his life. Deadwood, Tombstone, Virginia City, and Bodie all boomed with this promise. Camps filled with tents and shacks seemed alive with opportunity. $1 here might buy you a pan, a hot meal, or a stiff drink to steady your nerves before a long day's dig. The glow of saloon lamps made it easy to believe you'd found a place of prosperity, a town where hard work could pay off. But those towns were more dangerous than they were rich. Miners staggered out of gambling halls with pockets full of gold dust, only to be followed into the night and robbed, sometimes killed for winnings worth no more than a few coins. In Deadwood, Wild Bill Hickok was shot in the back over a card game, his last hand forever remembered as aces and eights. Bodie earned the grim nickname, a man for breakfast town, where it was said each morning began with another body in the street. Tombstone's silver boom turned into the OK Corral shootout, a reminder that in a mining boomtown, $1 could buy more than whiskey. It could buy you a place in Boot Hill. For drifters and desperados, outlaw towns looked like safe harbors. Saloons welcomed everyone, no questions asked. $1 bought you a drink, a card game, or even a bribe to a deputy willing to look the other way. To a newcomer, Lincoln, Las Vegas, and El Paso seemed like places where a man could disappear into the crowd and spend his money in peace. But these towns weren't safe harbors at all. Lincoln became the battlefield of the Lincoln County War, where Billy the Kid and his gang left bodies in the streets over debts and grudges, worth little more than a few coins. Las Vegas, New Mexico was so violent that vigilante mobs hanged men from lampposts, sometimes for robberies worth a single dollar. And El Paso earned its reputation as the six-shooter capital of the West, where every argument risked ending in gunfire. In these towns, $1 bought you liquor, but it also bought you into a den of thieves, killers, and gangs who preyed on the unwary. What looked like safety, a friendly bartender, a winning hand, a smile from a stranger, could turn out to be the bait in a trap. And more often than not, the cost was your life. When the railroad pushed west, safety seemed to ride along with it. Each payday, workers spilled into towns like Cheyenne and Laramie, or the rolling tent cities nicknamed Hell on Wheels. A silver dollar in your pocket felt like a ticket to comfort, a mug of beer, a warm plate of food, or a cot in a boarding tent. Music and laughter poured out of makeshift saloons. For a moment, the frontier didn't feel so lonely, but the very money that gave men comfort made them targets. Robbers waited just outside the glow of lantern light, following anyone who looked too flush. A man could step out of a gambling tent with his wages and be dead in the mud before he ever reached his bunk. Some railroaders never made it back to work at all, vanishing into the darkness after payday. Their silver dollars long gone. Law struggled to keep up with towns that rose overnight and vanished just as fast. By the time sheriffs arrived, the outlaws were already miles away, leaving nothing behind but bodies and boot tracks. In the railroad hell towns, $1 didn't buy security. It bought a target painted squarely on your back. The saloon was supposed to be a refuge. After long days on the trail or in the mines, the glow of oil lamps, the sound of a piano, and the promise of company felt like safety. $1 bought whiskey, a seat at the card table, or even companionship for the night. For men far from home, these comforts seemed to make the frontier less lonely, a reminder of civilization in a wilderness of dust and danger. But saloons and brothels were traps as often as they were havens. Whiskey blurred judgment, and many a cowboy woke up in an alley without his boots, gun, or silver dollars. Gamblers swindled the unwary, and accusations of cheating sparked shootouts that left blood on the floorboards. Women promised warmth, but more than a few were forced into the trade. Sometimes a man who paid his coin woke up drugged and robbed, lucky if he woke up at all. Behind the music and the laughter, danger lurked in every corner. The same dollar that bought a smile at the bar might also buy betrayal. And in these towns, betrayal could be just as deadly as a bullet. On the frontier, the homestead was the closest thing to real safety. Families built cabins, cleared fields, and raised livestock, believing their land and hard work would shield them from the dangers that haunted the saloons and streets of town. A silver dollar on the homestead bought nails, flour, or seed. Investments in stability. Surrounded by wide valleys and distant neighbors, many settlers felt secure in the vastness of the land, but safety on the homestead was fragile. Outlaws used the same mountains that sheltered ranchers as hideouts, riding down into valleys when they needed food, horses, or money. Raiding gangs struck without warning, taking what they pleased and leaving families terrified or worse. A silver dollar in your pocket might bribe them to pass you by, or it might just mark you as worth robbing. Neighbors banded together, rifles at the ready, but even that wasn't always enough. For every season of peace, there was always the chance of a raid. And when it came, the homestead that once felt so safe could turn into a trap with no escape. Out here, $1 meant survival, but it could never guarantee protection. The trail carried its own kind of safety. Around a campfire, cowboys and travelers found comfort in the glow of flames, the smell of coffee, and the steady presence of a horse tied nearby. A silver dollar stretched far out here. Beans, biscuits, or a pouch of tobacco that could be shared with friends. On the trail, the world felt vast and danger seemed far away. But the frontier never let you rest for long. Outside the ring of firelight, wolves prowled and cougars lurked in the dark. Heat stroke claimed men on the plains, while blizzards swept down from the mountains without warning. Highwaymen lay in wait along well-traveled routes, knowing every wagon carried money or goods worth stealing. $1 that bought food could just as easily paint you as a target. Even weather turned hostile. Swollen rivers swallowed wagons whole, and lightning storms turned camps into panic. Travelers who thought themselves safe often learned otherwise by dawn. On the trail, danger didn't have to come from another man's gun. It came from every direction, from the sky, the ground, and the shadows. Out here, a single coin might buy you comfort for the night, but it could never buy you certainty. Safety in the West always came with a price tag. $1 might buy you a hot meal, a bed for the night, or a stiff drink that took the edge off your fear, but none of it lasted. In the most dangerous towns, safety was never permanent. It was rented, borrowed, or stolen. And a single coin could be the difference between feeling secure and facing disaster. Money was supposed to mean stability. Back east, a silver dollar represented trust. You knew what it was worth, and you knew what you'd get for it. In the frontier towns, that same dollar became bait. Whiskey turned into brawls, games of chance ended with bullets, and companionship too often ended with theft or betrayal. Even the comfort of home or the trail could vanish the moment raiders, weather, or wild animals intervened. Every dollar was a choice, but it was also a risk. Spend it wisely and you might see another sunrise. Spend it poorly and you might not see sunrise at all. On the frontier, the price of safety wasn't measured in coins. It was measured in how long you could hold on to both your money and your life.
Golden guns, golden guns. Thank you for watching Golden Guns. Please like and subscribe.